Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Right, so last week we looked at hooks in this new testing process that I'm sharing with you guys. And today we're going to be testing the headlines. So this is going to be a very simple podcast because this isn't any different to the podcast beforehand. We're basically testing in exactly the same structure, apart from our setup needs to be slightly different. So I hope you've all been doing this the right way, and really important to keep your spreadsheet. So I know this is admin. I know it's really annoying. Trust me, I'm the biggest person. I hate admin. I hate doing all this sort of stuff. But it's really, really key because as I've been doing this for different clients, I'm starting to create big documents of different hooks and headlines and creative. So I can, when I'm setting a new app because something started failing, new app, a new ad, when something started failing, it means I can go back into that spreadsheet and I can see 50 different headlines and hooks, and I can just look at what the winners were. So when you're, especially with our businesses, whether it's ecom or lead gen, we're always talking about the same kind of problem. You know, that problem is not going to change really. You know, if it's uncomfortable on a bike, you have a bike seat, and you're always going to be talking about that problem on the bike seat is, and how your bike cover is a solution for that problem. Um, Whatever it might be, services, ecom, products, the lot. So once you start seeing these winning formulas, the winning hooks, the winning headlines, you're not going to step away from it too much. Now, I definitely think that you're always wanting to try new things. If you wake up in the morning, you suddenly think of a new idea for a different type of headlines, or think, oh, I haven't really tried that, then go out and try it. But usually everything's going to stay the same. So you can actually go back into your spreadsheet that I'm looking at right now, and I can look back at some of the hooks that I got that got like a click-through rate of 4.5%. And I'm going to be using that one more often than not. So when I get a little bit more creative, I already know it's like, okay, I'm going to choose headline or hook 7 to 15 and 33 because they've given me really good click-through rates. So I'm just going to combine those together if it fits with that creative. You see what I mean? So I'm assuming that you've all got your test sheet ready. So what I want you to do is I want you to open that test sheet, and we have just run our hook test in the last episode. So we've now got our hooks all numbered 1 to 5, 1 to 10, however many you did. In column C, we've got the creative number. Mine on this one I'm looking at is 1001. And then we've got the audience, and then we've got the cost per click and the click-through rate. Now, I want you to fill that in. So on your click-through rate, fill in 3.43%, 3.13%, whatever those percentages you've got, and put in your cost per click, 12p, $12 or whatever, however you're working, and keep that. So we've now got another tab which we're going to label headline. And in here, we're going to create our headline. So for instance, the one I'm looking at now is a 50% off of an ecom product. So I've got a few in here. So let's start with number 1, hot deal, discounted seat cover available. Number 2, stay cool on your bike with 50% off this seat cover. Number 3, 50% off breathable bike seat cover, limited time. Number 4, get 50% off seat cover upgrade. So I've started doing other types of headlines in here. Now I've obviously completed this. So the headline is the little bit that goes underneath your ad. So you've got your ad, you've got your copy where the hook is. So hook, first couple of lines before they have to read see more. Then that leads into any further copy if you want to use it. Then you've got your static, your image or your video, whatever. And then underneath that, right next to your shop now or sign up, you've got your headline. And this is where I want you to put this in. Now, you have to stick within within a certain amount of characters. And I think it's 120. So just to give you an idea of that, go on to character counter on Google and just copy and paste the headlines you're doing, or the longest headlines you're doing, and put it in there and make sure that it is under 120 characters, so that what we don't want to have is, you know, the last word or the last few letters or the last exclamation mark or the last 50% off, whatever it might be, is cut off when your ad's actually showing. So Facebook will give guidelines on that. So just give it a Google, go on to go on to character counter and put that in just to make sure your characters are the same. So when we're coming now to build the ad, we've done our we're still in a phase one. So it's a phase one. We labeled our last ad as phase one hook testing. Now we're going to label this one as phase one headline testing. Okay. We're going to use the same creative and we're going to use the same hook. So remember in the last episode when I talk about the fact that we can't use different things to do a test. Everything has to be the same apart from one of those particular variables. And the different variable on this particular one is the headline. So we've got 101, which is the creative. We're going to choose our best performing hook. Let's say it's number 2. And we're going to use the same audience. Okay, so you're going to build your campaign. So go ahead and build your campaign. You're going to choose ad set. You're going to choose ad set budget, not the campaign budget, because we don't want Facebook to make the decision. We want ourselves to make the decision. So we're going to go on to a campaign, call it phase one, headline test. Go through to ad set page, put in the audience. I mean, what you could do if you wanted to, depending on how fair you are, I like to just duplicate the last phase one hook and then just take out the images. At least you know that you've got your setup the same. Okay, just change your naming convention. You've got your audience the same. You've got your ad set costs the same. Budget's the same. Sorry. And then we're going through to the ad page. Now, let's say we've got 5 different headlines. So you've written your 5 headlines. We're going to build the one ad now. So we're going to use the best performing hook that you had, which had the best click-through rate, and probably at the same time it had the best click-through rate. So we're going to take that hook and we're going to put it into our copy. We're going to use the same creative. Now we're going to put in the number 1 headline. So that might be hot deal, discounted, seat cover available. That's your number 1. Now finish the ad off, do all your checks as normal. So it's ready to publish. But before you publish it, we're now going to duplicate the ad and create our second ad. Now, everything will be the same because we've duplicated it. We're now going to take the second bit of copy, second headline, and we're going to just change the headline to be number 2 headline. Duplicate the ad again, number 3 headline. Duplicate the ad again, and so on and so forth. Okay? Once this has been done, we need to then go back into the campaign and we're going to set up the same rule for the amount of impressions we have. So remember, you go to rules, which will just be above on your toolbar, rules, and we're going to name this one when the ad reaches 500 impressions, switch off. So create the rule to say impressions 500, turn off and save. Okay, so we can now go back into our ads and we can now publish those ads and it will get running. Okay, so it's exactly the same as we did for the hook, but now we're running the headlines. Now, if you ask, you're probably going to have like $5 budget in there, and then for each ad, and it'll turn up for 500. It's probably going to spend $2 or £2 or whatever. It's not going to spend a lot of money. Let's say overall it's going to spend $10 or £10 to run this ad. And if you're setting this up in the daytime or whatever time it might be for you, it'll probably take half a day, a few hours to run through, and then it'll switch off. But just make sure that it is switching off, because what Facebook does do, it does have bugs occasionally, which is why I like to run these things in the hours I'm awake so I can check on it. I don't like to run these things throughout the night because more often than not, even though there's a rule set up, I don't know whether I've made a mistake or something, but Facebook doesn't collaborate it and it keeps it on. And luckily, it's not a huge amount of spend, but it is annoying, so I want to get it at the same time. So I like to just go in and just check everything's running the way. And if I find that something's already hit 500 and it hasn't been switched off, it can be because Facebook actually only checks the rules every half an hour. So it might run over. So if you see it and it hasn't switched itself off and it's on 516 impressions, feel free just to switch that particular ad off until they're all completed. Then once they've all completed, we're then going to go back to our spreadsheet and we're going to put our cost per clicks in. We're going to put our click-through rates in so we can keep a nice summary of what's worked. You will now see that you have a creative, number 1001 on mine. We've got an audience that we know has worked for us. We've got a headline winner or a couple, and we've got a hook winner or a couple. We have now created our perfect formula, ad formula, okay? So now we need to take this to the next stage and we want to start testing further things, but we're now not going to use traffic. we're now going to go into an actual conversion ad because we've got some really good knowledge on winning headlines and hooks. And we're feeling confident now that this can be taken to a conversion sales campaign and we can actually spend a bit more money and start seeing some orders coming through. Hope that helps. Good luck with your headline test, and I'll see you in the next episode.